guys, so I'm wondering if this camera is wonky. I'm still trying to figure out this tripod. Oh. Hello. Still wonky. Hi. My Christmas tree is like dying. I literally hear baubles dropping every single day, and my procrastination. Phoebe, if I let you say hello, will you stop? Will you stop? Okay. Say hello to everyone. Have you said hello? Do you feel like you've contributed in this video? Do you? Do you feel like you've added something? Great. I'm so glad. After all of that distraction of my tripod, Phoebe, everyone, I have been gone for a while. I actually didn't intend on having a break for Christmas and then for after Christmas, but it just so happened that I essentially took the first week of January off. It's actually the 6th today, and the video's going up today, so I could have made it last until Saturday, but I felt at peace coming back now. I think everyone just needs a break sometimes, and when you work for yourself, you give yourself either really weird, like guilt-filled breaks that aren't actually breaks because you're stressed about taking a break, or you power through until you burn out completely and then you're forced to take a break, which is essentially where I was at. It was just a complete burnout and like lack of therapy, lack of mental care, and lack of everything that just led me to needing a break. And I'm so glad I did. I'm still not perfect at taking breaks. I don't know if you guys are going through that as well. Like, I'm not perfect at taking breaks because I will still sit there and feel guilty and be like, oh my God, why am I not doing work? But it's absolutely completely fine. It's absolutely completely fine to take a break if your work and life allows for it. And if it doesn't, find a 10-minute break every day to do something that is just for you. Anyway, that's my little like New Year's tip, is if you're taking a break, consciously take a break. Like, don't sit there on your phone and think, wow, I should be doing my assignment for school. Wow, I should be working right now. Wow, I should be doing my homework. Think, I'm gonna take this hour to myself. I will sit on TikTok if I want to. I will play my video game. I will read my book without any ounce of guilt. And then once you're done with that, you get on with work. And then you've actually rested. Okay, Phoebe, what are you chewing? And then you'll feel like you can actually get on with work. 1, without any shame, but 2, with actually feeling like you took a break and you're not gonna burn out. Top tips with Angelika for the new year. Also, journaling. I actually tweeted about this and a lot of people were like, how? I heard somewhere, I have no source for this, that journaling is almost always as effective as actually doing cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT, is the most common type of therapy that you will get with a therapist. And apparently journaling does it. And guess what? It does. I started journaling and I'm a massive overthinker, and I'll put an idea in my head and just won't be able to get rid of it until I like say it to someone. But sometimes it's not productive to say things to people. Like, just because you're feeling a certain way about someone or something now doesn't mean you actually think that way. I think it's just your brain being like, you're thinking that way, you know, you're feeling that way, and like the world is ending and it's going to be awful forever. But if you write it down and you really dissect what you wrote down and you put it into categories and you categorize it and you add to and take away and you edit it, it gives you a minute to be like, do I actually feel this way? Or is this just a fleeting thought that I had because I was in a situation that was making me uncomfortable? And most of the time, you're not actually feeling that way. I'm gonna be so honest with you guys, and it will stop you from having weird, unnecessary arguments with people, weird conflict. It will also help you think through what you want to say to people so you don't come across as a dickhead. And you can just have a fulfilling life. How crazy is that? Just keep a journal, guys. Just write all your thoughts. And it might seem difficult and borderline uncomfortable, but almost feel like you're writing it in a way that it's being addressed to the thing or to the someone that you're thinking about. So like, it's almost like they were supposed to read it, like a letter, but like a very aggressive, like full honest letter. And then you'll be like, wow, now that I got that out, 0 power over me. Great, moving on. But also therapy if you can. Like, my last video was about BetterHelp. Don't use BetterHelp. Either an actual therapist or just journal. And I think journaling is the way forward. So James Charles is today's topic, and I just can't believe we're still talking about this in big 2023. And this is what I'm starting my year with. So I have very low expectations for all YouTubers from this point onwards. So as you guys know, James Charles was cancelled during the Bi-Sister era, kind of. He was cancelled and he was redeemed because he was like, no more lies, Tati is lying about me. And then everyone believed him because we had no evidence otherwise. And then a year or 2 later, we start getting inklings that James Charles, in fact, was being predatory while Tati was talking about it, like in that era. And then he didn't stop being predatory because he felt like he could continue because everyone believed him, right? That's my thought process, allegedly. He was messaging people that were either straight or allegedly underage, just crazy stuff. And like whether he knew they were underage or not, or straight or not, like that's something you should really ask, mainly when you're DMing people on the internet that you don't know personally and you have no way to verify things. Like you should really be taking the time to verify people, or just meet people in person, meet people on dating apps where everyone kind of has to be above the age of 18, because that minimizes your risk. Of course, people can slip through cracks and pretend, but there's less of that and you will end up meeting them in person. And then it also makes you look less guilty because you went on a dating app that is 18 plus to find someone 18 plus. And then no one's gonna blame you for being caught up in a situation where someone pretended to be, do you know what I mean? Like it's not, but when you're just DMing people randomly and some of them look very young, like that's clearly the type. And then you go on Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast and you drop this nugget about like, you like boys that are younger than you, and you're trying to make it sound like, you know, oh, 18 plus legal, but like I love essentially younger men. And on top of that, you are influential, you are rich. And then you're going for men younger than you. Makes me think, oh, power dynamics. You love a good power dynamic, allegedly. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling and sensing whenever I hear James Charles talk. He's a rich man looking to fly boys out. He is an influential man using his influence to allegedly pressure men. Because he used to tweet about like unsuccessful dates. That is putting pressure on someone to perform at a date in a way that you want them to perform. Otherwise they'll be tweeted about and hounded by your fans. So that's pressure, power dynamic number 2. And then looking for guys that are younger than you, pressure point, power dynamic number 3. And that was the common trend with James Charles for a while. And no one goes to the police because I just like reporting stuff to the police really just isn't the vibe, you know. Like I wish it was an easier, more successful process, but like we're seeing all of this with like Andrew Tate and all of that stuff. It's just not a process that is easy for victims. That is it's not a process that is inviting to victims. It's not a process that makes victims feel safe and understood and heard and all of that stuff. So you know, when you're like, oh my god, why doesn't anyone go to the police? I don't know. You tell me. James Charles recently was exposed on TikTok by this user. You know, on TikTok you can post like almost like a photo dump to like an audio these days. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This guy kind of was just on TikTok showing his like gym journey, and he looks quite young. I'm not saying he looks below the age of 18. He just looks young, which is James Charles's type, according to James Charles himself. And he started posting TikToks saying the James Charles experience. And this is where you know you're like in for a ride, because whoa. So James Charles started following him on TikTok. This man did not have a lot of followers. Like now he's on like 26k, but I'm pretty sure most of that is because people are just like curious about the James Charles experience, you know, not, you know. And then the first thing he DMs him is age check please, which like that makes James Charles look like he's learned from his mistakes, sure. But didn't he say that he wasn't going to look for love in DMs anymore on like his explore page? Like he literally said in one of his apology videos now, he has uploaded and deleted a bunch of apology stuffs because he keeps on like incriminating himself. But he did say he was going to stop using his Instagram explore page, or like the For You page, the explore page, as a Tinder. He's going to start looking for love somewhere else to not be caught up in these situations. So why, year after year, month after month, do we have James Charles doing the same thing? When is he going to be held accountable, like fully? Because now he's like launching his makeup line, and he's got like a TikTok page for his makeup line. And yeah, it's not performing the way it would if this was at the height of James Charles' career. But the fact that he can still pull almost 1 million views on YouTube and like almost like, you know, 200,000 on a makeup line page is ridiculous to me, because this man literally does not stop. You do not stop. You do not think and stop and think, and in the other order as well. Like, stop and think for a minute. Is this appropriate for me to do? No. I understand if two people that aren't influencers meet online and then start to date, as long as everything is consensual and age and appropriate and all of that stuff, sure. Because there's no power dynamic there. There's just two people meeting on the internet and becoming friends or partners or whatever it is. I also don't mind two influencers reaching out to each other, because when you're an influencer or a public figure, your age is out there on the internet. Everything's about you out there on the internet, so it's not a big secret. No one can lie to anyone really most of the time. And there's no power dynamic because these people are both in no power dynamic. I mean, just purely based on like influence. Obviously there can be other power dynamics. Don't catch me out on words, because you know, that's the internet these days. As you say one thing and people are like, I read this thing one day that was like, you could literally write out like, I love waffles, and someone would be like, oh, so you despise pancakes then? you hate pancakes. It's like, no, I didn't say that. That's a new sentence. I'm saying there's no power dynamic if it's two influences because they both have influence. So one won't like influence over the other. When you are a public figure, you probably shouldn't be looking for love from non-public figures on the internet. That's just my opinion, because it's starting to, like, it can be successful sometimes, but most of the time it just seems to cause more issues than benefit. Like, there's more of a drawback than there is a benefit to being a public figure looking for love from non-public figures on the internet. Like, this guy clearly is a public figure. He's maybe on the start of a public figure journey, so maybe catch him in like 2 years time when he's on 1 million followers. But right now it just feels like you're like looking for guys that could be impressed by your following. That's also really sad because it makes me think like James Charles really has nothing to offer. And I'm gonna get into that in a minute. Like, it feels like James Charles really undervalues himself. And I'm not saying that he's a good person or not. I'm not saying he's fun to be around or not. Like, I'm just saying it seems like he has zero, he's a very insecure guy. He's rich and he's famous and all of this stuff, you know, he lives in a mansion and whatever. But he seems very insecure at the root of it all, because what he has to offer usually to these guys and like what he says he has to offer is usually revolving around influence and money or sexual favors. It's never about what kind of a person he is. It's always around influence, money, looking for someone who is below him. James Charles is never looking for someone above him. He's never looking for an equal. He seems to always be looking for someone below him, someone who can be easily influenced, someone who can be easily impressed, someone who isn't expecting much from you. Which makes me think like James Charles is a very insecure person, because you can't be secure in yourself and constantly look for people that you deem as below you. Age-wise, influence-wise, money-wise, he's always looking for someone that seems below him, that is easy to impress. Why? So he gets messages from him on Instagram as well, and then these are the DMs. He says, it's a really lucrative role. It's called My Boyfriend. Requirements 6'2" and over. Must love escape rooms, horror movies, and cuddling. Big armpit hair. We know that he has a weird fetish around armpits and armpit hair because he used to ask these men on Snapchat to send him pictures of like just their armpits. So that's, you know, personal choice right there. I'm not gonna shame him. And an occasional FaceTime call. The salary is $0, but it's a good job offer, I think. Perks include a cute boyfriend with a great personality and a huge ass. He says great personality as like a fleeting, great personality, but like have a huge ass and a mansion and a money. And like the great personality thing is a very like secondary choice there. Free living in a $10 million house in LA. In the insecurity is just, you might as well link him the Zillow ad from when you bought your house. Like, do you want to give him the square footage of your house as well? What's in your bank account? Do you want to send him like an investment portfolio? Like, this just screams insecurity, and it screams like that weird, almost toxic masculinity side of the internet. Like borderline Andrew Tate vibe of like, I have money, please choose me, I have money. Like, right? It doesn't, I don't know, it just screams insecurity to me. Fun travel opportunities. Once again, I want to fly you out. Like, I will fly you out. That's my one, I will fly you out. I'll take you to Coachella and then guilt trip you about it, allegedly. Good head and more. Perfect. And then once he posted some of these TikToks, James Charles, obviously all the other messages disappeared because they're in vanish mode. He started to learn and be smart. He's now putting messages in vanish mode so that they don't stay there, almost like Snapchat, but just on Instagram. And he says, go f yourself, David. He also sent these 3 like stories to the guy.
So if I'm being like, oh my God, David, you're annoying, over text, right? You don't know if I'm saying like, oh my God, David, you're being annoying. Or like, oh my God, David, you're being annoying. Or like, oh my God, David, you're being fucking annoying. Because all 3 of those are completely different like emotions. So obviously being that you are straight, I would assume that you don't know a lot about like the gay community. So if I'm being like, oh my God, David, you're annoying, over text, right? You don't know if I'm saying like, oh my God, David, you're being annoying. Or like, oh my God, David, you're being annoying. Or like, oh my God, David, you're being fucking annoying. Because all 3 of those are completely different like emotions that you cannot see through text. You only get to actually experience those through a FaceTime call or through being in person. Even over the phone, you still miss out on things because you're missing somebody's facial expressions, right? So because you refuse to hang out with people or because you refuse to FaceTime, you're not allowing people to actually get to know you as like a human being. And that's a massive, massive problem whenever it comes to being in a relationship with somebody. You cannot fall in love with somebody simply just from texting.
And then one of them describes the guy as straight, says, you're straight, so you don't know much about the gay community. Why are you still going for straight men? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. And then like, you know, the FaceTime call thing, that, you know, whatever. And then the guy posts, I'm assuming his name is David from that message, posted a TikTok saying, when you find out you're not the only straight guy James Charles wants, and other people said, you know, James Charles texted me before too, and they will send him, you know, proof that they're also being messaged. James Charles followed me too. Can I show this on TikTok? Just block out my name. He messaged someone saying, I'm trying to see which one of my friends are also staying here. Also, who's blanked out, ha ha ha. So honored to be half people you follow. Haha, she's a girl I'm texting. I find it hard to find people that are actually interesting to talk to. Wow, my competition A, I'm cuter. Lol, you guys are both great. Ouch. It's giving pick me vibes. It's giving pick me vibes. That's the story of James Charles. I'm not accusing him of anything. Like there's like not an accusation here. I'm just so like confused as to why you would get cancelled and like have your career essentially ruined. He used to get like 20 million views a video. He's now barely hitting 1 million. That's still great, but it's not amazing. I'm just confused as to why you would continue to put yourself in these situations fully well knowing the outcome. Or is it because like the outcome has already happened and you've already lost your career that you now feel like whatever, I'll just keep on doing it because what's the worst that can happen? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think. Is this, I don't know. Subscribe to the bell, like, comment for engagement. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.